Hi, so I'm making this video today. I saw a video that made me think about my thoughts on, like psychic energy and psychic phenomenon and how that all works and how it could work as like a how it could possibly work. But this guy in the video, he was talking about manifestation and thinking it was the law of attraction. He's like, you think about something, you can make it come into your reality. That's just manifestation, which is supposed to be the gift or the secret that we all latently possess the ability to send waves of energy into the universe that can affect the outcome of reality and blah blah blah, like the universal, the gift or the secret, um, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so my view on like this psychic abilities or phenomenon and how it could work, like I spent a lot of years trying to rationalize these things and how they happen. But it's kind of like, right, so when we eat something, it processes in our bodies and it turns into energy. And that energy is stored. I'm kind of learning a lot about it in health class at the moment, and that energy is stored in our bodies, right? And we use it to move, we use it to speak, we use it to do everything, right? But and when we do that, it something happens as a result. It goes into the body, and as the other side of that, we store fat or muscle and energy, right? So it's like when we get energy to our bodies, we use it in our bodies, and it comes as like the chemical in our bodies that lets us move, and like when we eat as a result of that, of the energy breaking down, we fart and shit, right? So what happens when we think? When we think, our brain creates energy and it puts energy out into the universe. This is a theory I've had for a couple of years now. I'm seeing a lot of videos about it because it made me think, because I've been seeing videos today like all about the stuff I was trying to put in a video I was uploading yesterday that took 12 hours to upload for some reason, but these all came out before my video did. And so basically, it's kind of like when we think we do, and we think we perceive in energy, right? So we think, and our perception is at a chemical level energy. Um, so if we have this energy in our brain when we think, where are our thought waves or our kind of like brain thoughts going, or our brain juice existing? They could be out in the universe latently. And when we're young, we learn to do it, but we're programmed and taught by all elder people to like block it out and not do it. But who's to say all of this energy, this thought energy, when we think, there's kind of like imprints of energy left from thought, seeing and believing and feeling. So as long as you, someone you know, someone you meet, even if they're alive or dead one day, or someone you're related to at any point in past or present time, is there when when someone is witnessing or seeing or thinking it, then some people could sensitively actually kind of like the other senses, kind of like for energy, to feel energy is kind of like how we smell. We smell the breakdown or the process of breaking down, and we smell decomposition. We smell we smell like the change of molecules. We smell farts, which are the breakdown. So we like smell those things. We feel physical things. We hear like sound energy, which is produced from, I don't fucking know how, which is a way to sense that. And we taste things, which is like tasting the composition or the makeup of something, right? So if energy is the other kind of energy that exists out there, who's to say some people can't pick up on it and are essentially just not like blind to that energy, and they can pick up on that energy because it is put out into the universe and because we think it and experience it. Which makes sense. It's kind of like the way I explained it was kind of like, it's also kind of like a Wi-Fi, right? So like if a Wi-Fi can send a message from one device to another, why would people not be able to do that with each other one day? Bees can do it, so why the fuck couldn't people do it? Maybe there's a queen human who is a telepath to all these human who is the actual queen human, like next queen human role or something, like the queen position of human, which is obviously goes to the royalty who aren't their way in the line. um, but yeah, we put out energy and people can pick up on this energy because it's like when we break down energy, we use the energy, but when we think, we use energy and thoughts and experiences and feelings are energy at their base. So maybe some people can just pick up on this energy, kind of like we can smell honey or we can taste honey, or if we eat honey, it breaks down in our body and turns into an energy, and we release it in sweat, we release it by farting it, we exert it. Um, I don't think there's any sound product of honey, but I think when you eat honey, it is good for your throat and your sound, so it's good for that too. So who's to say we don't think honey as well? You know what I mean? Like it just kind of comes out as honey thought energy, and people can pick up on this energy because it's in the universe and we put it out, and some people can just pick up on it and sense it. Um, kind of like what's a species that doesn't actually see or is blind? Some species might be blind, or some species smell with their tongue, or some people species like feel to see instead of feeling they see. So some beings are just more capable of picking up on this essential energy in the universe, and they can comprehend it and see it in various different ways for various different things they have done or that people they are related to have done at the points in time. Just like empathy, right? Most people possess empathy and they don't realize it. In my opinion, the only people who don't possess at least some form of latent empathy are psychopaths and sociopaths who don't feel or care about other human beings. I think one of them can feel other people's emotions, but they don't care about hurting them, and one is incapable of empathy to me. So empathy at its basis is caring, as empathy is kind of like a form of healing, right? You feel someone else's emotions, like physically, sometimes even as if they're your own. Um, and um, like everyone can do that basically. Like it's a human thing. Humans can do that. Some people are just said to have like supernatural empathy, like they're able to control emotions, or they can do things with emotions, or like yeah, or like a heightened or awakened empath can learn to sense these things. But like when you look at someone and they're feeling bad, you feel bad for them sometimes, or some people hate it. Which goes back to a video I made tonight as well about how some people react different or think different from certain things and situations. So, who's to say like it's not completely possible for people to feel emotions? Because I have the belief that everyone can feel people's emotions until a certain age as well. But I also thought a lot of other things would be readily normalized and possible. But like it just makes sense to me. Um, we think and we have thought waves or brain waves. I think there's a part of the brain where things get sent from one side of the brain to the other, which is a transference of energy. So when we think and it goes together, where does it go? Out into the universe. And when it goes out into the universe, some people just have like this extra sense that people may or may not have developed, or they might have not seen the need to develop, or only certain peoples from like that classification of human work. Like who's to say humans don't have certain classifications and certain attributes people find attractive or not attractive to do with like workers or queens or soldiers or psychics, energy users, or this or that. Who's to say that's not all a thing um, within the human race or the species, which is a pretty interesting thing. Like, yeah, some people can smell sickness more than others. Who's to say those people aren't natural born doctors? And healers can like just increase the strength of someone's immune system, because like some forms of healing comes down to like helping someone's body like be more capable of not getting sick through like thoughts. Like some people's positivity can make them more resistant to getting sick, or they heal better because they feel better. Like it makes their body's immune systems like strengthen because like I feel good, I can do this, and that mentality and mindset helps them. It might not necessarily save them, yes, but it makes it easier for them to heal and recover from a condition, which is pretty interesting. So that would go down to like all the different classifications humans could possibly have, which I think is quite interesting or fascinating. But yeah, so basically, what I was doing this video for was my theory on psychic and how if we eat an apple, then we produce energy, and when we think the energy goes to our brain, sure, we could use it there, but maybe this latent energy from movement, even, and from thinking is left in the atmosphere in the universe, and certain people can pick up on it, which says, who says there's not a certain device that can pick up on it as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting theory. Um, that I've had. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot as usual. Yeah. Yeah, and I have this belief on healing, like that it can work and be very good. Like, um, I usually when I was younger, found out I may have like certain healing potential or abilities that I practiced. And I didn't get to do this for my grandmother. She passed away yesterday morning, which was quite sad. But like when I was with someone, I was practicing the energy healing because I found out I might be capable of it way before I met my friend, a friend in Bowen who was into that kind of stuff as well. And I was practicing on it like I was like $3 or $5 or $10. Some people thought I was doing this or that, but I was not. And I had an ABN because the government allowance place was giving people ABNs to work for themselves, and you just had to report it and pay tax and blah blah blah. But I like was doing healing sessions with someone who claims that I helped to cure a very bad disease I had. I was like, well, it's probably just a placebo effect, right? Because I was helping them heal and increase their body's healing effect. But I've gotten a lot of good results with that. Just like certain things to do with cards. Like I was like, this person, I read cards, and I was like, this person's gonna go to jail, and they went to jail. Or I was like doing a tea leaf reading, and I was like, oh, my brother's got this, which means a baby is going to be born. Is it true? And then I asked him, he's like, how did you know my girlfriend was pregnant or this or that? I've gotten good results before, but then sometimes I do results and I got nothing. Like in this house, I had someone over for a practice healing session because I'm out of whack and I can't feel it. Like it's like I can feel the energy being drained or disappearing as soon as I'm making it. But I was practicing healing someone. They said, it feels like I've been asleep for 3 days. And that's how much it helped me. And I was like, well, that's good because I don't really have enough faith to do it because most healing takes a certain amount of faith in oneself or faith in Almighty, Cosmic Protector, Love, Being, um, whatever you call them. But yeah, like I didn't think I had even the capability to do anything or that I could cure a sickness or anything anymore, which is pretty interesting. Or like I've had some random ass bumps show up on me out of nowhere, like in literally 3 seconds painfully, which is not right and it's horrible. It's like an opposite being of a healer. Um, but which is definitely not good, especially like when it comes to natural born healers, and that you're not supposed to give them something to heal and make something to heal, because by what I learned, that's empowering the being of like sickness and plague themselves by creating extra sickness for them to heal. But you'll put extra out into the universe and they'll just come across what they're supposed to do. When I find these bumps and stuff, I practice the healing energy on them, and I actually managed to make them go down fairly quick. And then I decided not to do it on one, and it got worse and worse. But then I tried it on one, it worked. It would have been lovely if I had have had enough money. It would have been good if I had more money to have visited my grandmother before she passed and see if I could have helped her. Um, but yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Um, yeah, I have more healing ability and more of these all abilities since I was a child, but they were disappeared and like I had a bunch of people try to steal them. Like even with my ex, they were convinced I had a bunch more of these abilities that I thought I did, which I don't think is accurate. I think he was kind of psychotic. They tried cutting me with like a white carved handled knife to steal them and blah blah blah, which were kind of like all God given things anyway. Um, so I guess they would return before they return, and they would be a very evil being, and literally stealing it would make them an evil, corrupt, demonic being. Anyway, if you believe in it like that, if you believe in aliens, they would have had to have stolen certain parts of someone and cut them out. Um, but I don't know. It's all interesting theories and conjecture. But I believe human people are capable of many more things, or coming into the capability of many more things than they realize. Like, humans is kind of amazing. Like, if you think about how fast the planet moves for the human, people, what do you think they could be on other planets? Like, you see in some of these movies about aliens, like the aliens is there and then it disappears, and then it's there and then it disappears. It's like, what if they're visiting the planet and they don't know a lot about it? And it's actually because the planet's spinning so much faster than theirs, they're getting constantly thrown around and they're not actually attacking people. They're like slamming into them or trying to hold on to something. It's possibly not true. They could be evil beings as well, but that's an interesting theory I had. I forgot what I was going to say before. I'm not saying that they're not evil because I don't fucking know, but yeah. Aliens, healers, God, whatever you think. Um, I'm kind of like, we have to have come from somewhere, right? Um, I believe like my mother's like we are all once dust and we all return to dust. We're all like beings that were split into two, this or that, blah blah blah. But I think she could be wrong. And why would anyone do something so horrible? to anyone like that we were all trying to find our other half essentially. And it's an interesting theory, but I don't know if I agree with it because she also turned around and said thought someone was like a succubus man, the child of a succubus, and they could drain the life force out of you if they wanted to and knew how. And then I'm like, well, how can you turn around and say we were all dust once and we return to dust when we die? Um, and then say that someone else in that place is a succubus. Like, we have to have came from somewhere. Even if it's like, did the chicken or the egg come first? It came from nowhere. Well, I guess the egg could be made out of dust, right? But where did the egg come from? And if it's made out of dust, where did the dust come from? Things happen for a reason. It can't have just happened out of nowhere. We had to have came from somewhere. Maybe we're just not supposed to know until we return there. Maybe we all came from there once, and we're not going to know until we return there, which would be pretty interesting. Um, you know, I look at death and I'm kind of like, some people are scared of death, but I find it kind of exciting. Those experiences where I may have been there before, I may have not, but it's kind of exciting at the same time. Even if it's like darkness, maybe we're going to sleep for the first 100 years of being there until we're basically a new reborn soul in this dark place, or maybe we're not. Maybe we go to this magical light forest. When my grandmother passed away yesterday, which was kind of sad, it was interesting because I was feeling bad about something about not seeing her enough, and then like I was awake when she passed and I didn't know, and like around the same time as she passed, like I woke up half an hour after this, but around the same time as she passed, I like got really tired for no reason and I fell asleep, and I had a dream that I was with her on the trip I missed to Bali with her, and she was having a good time. And like I met my grandmother, and there was this other guy I didn't know there, and she was like, "This is your great grandma," and all that, this and that. And I was having a drink with her, and she was watching the footy, and she was loving it. And yeah, it was like this most interesting thing where I was like in Bali with her in this massive endless city, and then they gave me a card to go for a walk somewhere, so I just kind of like went for a walk and um went back, and then I ended up waking up and I texted my brother and the phone call came and it turns out she was dead when I fell asleep. Like it was like an uncontrollable urge to fall asleep, like I just felt tired for no reason all the time. All of a sudden, like I have been or do sometimes, but I went to sleep this time and like I don't know, I was kinda like I saw her in there and she was kinda younger again, and my mother was actually kind of waiting on her instead of questioning her, which I was like, damn, this is good for her. Um, but for some reason, someone in particular wasn't there. It was interesting. It was a very strange and interesting dream. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about dreams. Like, I've had dreams about this or that before. Sometimes I've had dreams about things before they occur. Um, it's not just that I've had like all these weird experiences to do with the psychic kind of things, but some of these have been disappearing and then coming back, especially when you tell people about them. Like, if you're gifted and like the universe and God made you blessed and gifted, you have to be careful who you tell about this because certain people will try to take it or steal it from you. Like I tried doing something I was always capable of and I couldn't do it, and I'm like, well, this makes no sense. To me, it physically doesn't make sense that I shouldn't be able to. Um, yeah, it's an interesting theory, but yeah, like many people have been surprised before, but Um, yeah, like my ex thought they possessed abilities, but they were psychotic, and then they went as far as to try to summon demons and like pray to God for powers and a bigger PP and all this stuff, and then God didn't do it, so they claimed they went to the devil, and even they turned them down. So then they tried to go to demons and gods and this or that, and they found some god who steals penis size, and then they were trying to cut people with white-handled knives and sacrifice them in these satanic rituals and steal all their gifts and blessings and abilities, and they even threaten to cut people or cut people's faces off for beauty or if they don't do what they say, which apparently makes me psychotic because I once told a psychologist they threatened me and they're like, well, you were threatened. You must be a psychotic and schizophrenic. Nobody gets threatened. Let's lock you up for 6 months of your life for admitting you were threatened and raped. Like, who the fuck does that? Who the fuck are you even to say that or talk about anyone like that? How the fuck do you have a license? Get a fucking life. Understand that some people are psychotic bitches who threaten people, and do your fucking job and don't be a fucking prick about it. Like, Jesus, how can you lock someone up for more than 6 months of their life for admitting someone threatened them and raped them when they were a teenager? Like, I'm sorry, but that psychologist is not a very good person or a very good psychologist, and they need to fucking reevaluate themselves before they burn in 1,000 years in hell. Or they, for all I know, they were fucking Satan whores who had sex with the devil and are really manipulative and try to do all these tasks with the devil and bring all these people to sinful situations and horrible situations and literally just mess with people by putting all this shit in their mind that makes them almost do bad things. I don't fucking know. But yeah, which also reminds me of a psychologist that came in 2023, which was later, which I'm really unsure about that situation. I don't know how to judge it, but yeah. And like, it's interesting. It's very fucking interesting. Um, yeah. Some people think they are, some people think they aren't, some people try to be, and then it makes our children or their children's children this. My mother claims our like lineage with foresight and psychic things comes back from three Aboriginal women who are supposedly very powerful or respected women in the community, and all these tribes would come from far around and far and wide to visit these three women, which is basically on a great great grandmother or something. I'd never met Gladys and all this shit, and it's supposed to be like one of them was like a very powerful alchemist woman, and one of them did tea leaves, and she had all these visions and this foresight abilities and blah blah blah. And if everyone would come to get her insight or guidance, it's a very interesting line. And like the other one, she didn't really tell me anything about the other one because she said I'm not supposed shouldn't know about that yet. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. It kind of, I don't know why I just thought about this. Coughing made me think strangely about it, but it made me think about something I read in a Bible. I don't know if there one's about like the biblical healer, and if someone was actually a healer or the healer, and like an angel found them, or a Holy Spirit or someone like that found them, then and they were a healer, then they would develop like an incurable bowel condition. So like healers would be giving incurable bowel conditions that they were not capable of healing yet, and that would be like a sign or a mark of the healer. Would actually be the stomach rumbling, like that, kind of like in a movie I saw that they were healers, and um, that's so they can constantly heal, and maybe even one will be powerful enough to heal it. But if God make it, I don't think they're healing that shit. But it's interesting. It's an interesting story, and the healers would have their tails, just like the warriors and the assassins from older days would have their tails as well. Like they would have the healers' tails. The healers would have their tails. I don't know which version that was interpreted as, which I thought was pretty cool and interesting. All these stories that all the different classes from the Bible had. I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, started on a rant about thinking psychic abilities, and that came from energy, and it was all energy in its base, energy in different forms, energy manipulation, blah blah blah. But like, you never know. Like, people are supposed to even be able to like change the temperature based on their body heat, but they can die from it if they do it wrong, or this or that. It just all depends, really. Which I think is pretty interesting if you can manifest your heat or cold energy. Like when I was a kid, I was convinced I could do so many things, and people got this look on their face about it too. They're like, but yeah, like they're all surprised. But yeah, it's all interesting theories. Like when it comes down to it, if you were born as something or you were gifted as something, then it's really okay. I wouldn't say it's okay if you go out of your way to like make a deal or possess something you were never supposed to possess, because that will physically kill you one day, or it will curse on the online will punish for it or curse it. Like I practiced and it was like had healing kind of situations and things as I was a child that I found out when I hugged someone once, which I thought was them just being nice and being like, "Oh, that helped," because they were trying to be nice about hugging. But it turns out they were like, "No, you actually feel better from you hugging me," and a bunch of different people say that. Um, fuck, I forgot what I was saying. Um, healing. Damn, it was an important point too. This is awkward. I keep doing this. Healing, hugging people possess what they're supposed to. if you possess what you're not supposed to, it will physically not be capable or handleable by the body, and it will end up killing them. Um, yeah, it's an interesting theory. Um, God healers. Um, damn, forgot what I was gonna say. I gotta think about it. I gotta write all this shit down, but I think about some of it as I make the video. Yeah. I'm gonna try to think about it, and if not, I'm just gonna cut the rest after this out. Um, which is pretty cool. If you're supposed to possess it, you're supposed to possess it, and you'll meet or know who you're supposed to meet or know. And like, if you don't have it yourself, you're not necessarily supposed to take it. If it can't be taught. Um, kind of like how people who aren't supposed to be this and want to be something else is not necessarily a good thing, but maybe they are supposed to be something else, and people misjudge them unless it's coming from actually someone themselves, which is an interesting theory. I thought it was pretty cool. I honestly can't remember. I just blatantly forgot something that was important to remember. I forget some of the most important things at certain times. Um, yeah, this is awkward. Oh yes, or I'm like I was trying to purify water because I was reading online about the first thing you should do in an apocalypse is try to purify water. And previously, when I could do this before it had disappeared, which was didn't make sense and just wasn't right to me because I could do it, was I was at a lake with someone. I was buying something, which was not necessarily good, but I was buying something and I noticed the lake looked polluted and dirty. So I thought about healing. So I focused on like healing and purifying and doing stuff. And I touched the water, and where I touched around it, the water went like clear. The water kind of went like clear and non-polluted in a spot, and it like spread out through the lake into a certain portion of the lake which is clear, and around it was murky, and like people even started noticing it in the area that there was like a spot of water that was like clearer, because I touched it, which was pretty interesting. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, that's about it. I've taken up enough time with this video. Whether or not anyone ends up watching it, it's all energy, all the healing and this or that and this or that. Like, even with like making the rivers run or weather phenomenon or winds or making the white dead grass grow greener was all interesting things. Like, I guess it all comes to some kind of scientific level of energy and this or that, but like you tell people about it and it will disappear and they will try to steal it. Like I've had a bunch of different people do end up with things that I could do when I told them about it. I was like, well, that's interesting. How can you do that? And I can't do it anymore, which I thought was pretty cool and interesting because, I don't know if they were supposed to possess it, which means they turn themselves into something horrible and will go through a worse fate for it because they couldn't. Like, it was like something I learned about in a church I went to the other day. The, like, the thought of having it or wanting it or what they would do with it overtook what it was supposed to actually be, and they kind of like gave up their immortal soul, so their immortal soul or their reward for all the good action they have done for like a mortal want and a mortal gain to, oh, I want that or I want to be that, so they get themselves punished, even if there was something before, which is interesting. It's very interesting. Angles. But yeah, it's a pretty cool concept. But yeah, I can't think about. I'm spending this whole time trying to think about the thing I forgot to say, but I can't. So yeah. Anyway, love and peace. Goodbye.